Ja Morant, last summer, allegedly, purportedly got into a fight with a high school kid. Went after knocking him upside his head with the same friend who was with him this time. He went in his house and came outside with a gun. There's still an investigation about that. This February, he and that same friend, who will remain nameless, because he ain't a part of it, he's not the story Ja Morant is, but that same friend, they were in Indianapolis. And there was an investigation made by the NBA because apparently his friend got into it with members of the Indiana Pacers party, which included security, and allegedly a red laser gun was pointed at them. Ja Morant was in that SUV. They couldn't prove that Ja Morant did that, so they kind of let it go. Then you had in March the incident where Ja Morant is at the strip club in Colorado. And because he's at the strip club doing his thing, making it rain, waving a gun, Memphis said, yo, suspension. NBA ultimately supported it. 8 games, over $600,000 it cost him. He's supposed to be done with that. April, he bounced out of the playoffs like by LeBron and AD. And now here we are in May, and it happened again.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Here we go again indeed. For the second time in a row, Memphis's young star Ja Morant has made the headlines for the wrong reasons by brandishing a gun, this time though on IG Live, while he was rolling out with his buddies. I mean, the timing of this was kind of funny because almost exactly 2 months before the IG gun incident happened, Ja had a sit-down interview with puppy eyes saying,
Well, the gun wasn't mine. It's not who I am. I don't condone any type of violence, but I take full responsibility for my actions.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
So let me get this straight. You went on live TV saying that it would not happen again, claiming full responsibility for your actions, yada yada yada, and after getting suspended for 8 games, lost about $669,000 worth of salary, lost the opportunity to be voted as part of an All-NBA team, which could have allowed you to earn an extra $39 million. Here you are showing off your gun, acting like you're about that life, while millions of people are watching you on IG, as if you don't care about your reputation being tarnished, as well as all the money that you've lost. We have a saying that goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And at this point, Ja is making a fool, not just out of the NBA, but also for fans like us who gave him a second chance and believe that he'll change for the better. And as we saw in the viral clip, his recent behavior says otherwise. And even though he dropped another apology statement, it's becoming harder to believe the words coming out of his mouth right now. Cause we know that he might just shrug this one off and do another stupid thing in the future. When the first gun video came out, some people were siding and even protecting Ja, saying that he didn't do anything bad or break any law, and some were saying that he was just being himself and that he should be left alone. However, this was not the case when the latest video dropped, as a lot of people were disgusted by Ja's gangsta wannabe behavior, with one of them being Charles Barkley, who was completely disappointed with Ja's stupid behavior was League Commissioner Adam Silver. And in an interview, he said that he was completely shocked when he saw the IG clip.
We talked directly about the consequences first before we got to a subsequent potential to have done something wrong. We were very focused on the misconduct that was in front of us at the time. And frankly, most of our conversation was about how incredibly serious the first incident was of waving a firearm on social media. And again, and the consequences there, an 8-game suspension was pretty serious and something that he, at least to me, seemed to take incredibly seriously in that time. And we spoke for a long time about not just the consequences that could have on his career, but the safety issues around it. Could have injured, maimed, killed himself, someone else with an act like that. And so I at least was left with the sense that he was taking this incredibly seriously. So honestly, I was shocked when I saw this weekend that video. Now, we're in the process of investigating it, and we'll figure out exactly what happened to the best we can. And the video's a bit grainy and all that, but I'm assuming the worst, but we'll figure out, exactly what happened.
I mean, this was like stabbing him in the back. Because if I remember correctly, just a couple of months ago, Silver personally summoned Ja to his office. Both of them sat down and talked about how they're gonna hash things out, and just 2 months later, they're back at square one yet again. Silver has a reputation of protecting players whenever they get into trouble, especially in the same caliber as Morant. As we all know, he only gave Ja a tap on the wrist by suspending him for 8 games in his first offense. But now, all eyes are now locked in on Adam Silver regarding how he'll handle this situation moving forward. Currently, the NBA hasn't said too much about this matter, but I'm looking at a 40 to 50 plus game suspension, or perhaps even a season-long suspension for Morant, not including fines, penalties, and other therapy sessions, as well as community programs that he'll be forced to attend to. The reason why I say this is that, as Stephen A. Smith said in the intro, this was not the second time that Ja got himself into trouble. I mean, there was the punching incident involving a 17-year-old kid.
Ja Morant, a multi-millionaire, a massive star in the NBA, would be punching a 17-year-old kid a dozen times all over a basketball game, a pickup basketball game at his house. Not really something that you want one of your big stars to be getting into.
Then the incident that happened in the mall.
We have a brand new story of Ja Morant once again pretending that he is about that life and pretending to be a tough guy. This time it involves him, his mother, and an employee at Finish Line. That's right, the shoe store. According to a report obtained by the Washington Post, Ja Morant's mother got into an argument with an employee at Finish Line and called her son. So what does any son do in this situation? Ja Morant pulled up 9 dudes deep to the Memphis Mall and wanted to have a conversation, I guess, with this Finish Line employee. As the group was leaving the premises, Ja Morant said, "Let me find out what time he gets off," police wrote in the report. The guard wanted to file a report, police wrote, because he felt threatened by the statement from Ja Morant. Ja Morant's about to sign a $200-300 million contract, and in his free time, he's thinking about jumping a minimum wage Finish Line worker with 9 of his friends. Come on, bro. You're not fooling any of us.
Then he got involved in another assault altercation when he attended his sister's volleyball game last year. And there was the gun-pointing incident that happened after they had a game in Indiana.
Did you guys see what Ja Morant and his boys are being accused of? Because, I mean, if you guys can't, read it right here. Ja Morant and his associates are accused of aggressively confronting members of the Pacers by their team bus, allegedly pointing a gun at the Indiana Pacers. What?
I mean, the gun flashing thing at the nightclub in Denver, and more recently in IG Live, were clearly not just some random, immature, stupid stuff that a 23-year-old filthy rich kid would do out of nowhere. As you've seen and heard with the stories earlier, Morant and his crew have a history of threatening people with the intention to harm, and I believe that there's no doubt that they're clearly more than aware of what they've been doing, especially with the guns that they possessed. As I said earlier, everyone is looking at Adam Silver right now on how he'll deal with this case. I mean, if this happens to a third stringer, I'm pretty sure that they just kick that guy out of the league in no time, just like what happened to Myers Leonard when he made an anti-Semitic slur some years back. Now, I think the NBA has made the right call about Leonard's case, but sometimes the NBA applies a double standard when it comes to dealing with these kinds of issues. I mean, take the case of Kyrie Irving. It's almost exactly the same thing as what happened to Leonard, but instead of kicking him out or punishing him heavily, the NBA just suspended Kyrie for a couple of games, and after a while he was already back on the court shooting hoops as if nothing transpired. See, I'm really concerned that the same thing might happen if the NBA decides to take Ja's case lightly, just like they did with Kyrie. I mean, I have nothing against Ja Morant as the basketball player. He's one of the most electrifying young stars in the league right now, and it's really fun to watch him play on any given night with his crazy athleticism. But on the other hand, I'm totally against the behavior that Ja is showing off the court. I mean, with several millions of followers on his social media accounts, there's a high chance that at least one of them thinks that carrying a loaded gun while acting like a gangster is cool, and because of that, it's only a matter of time before we see another unnecessary shooting incident waiting to happen. All because a certain kid saw another immature kid on IG waving his gun like a clown. Most reports say that some mass shooters are motivated or influenced by what they see and hear from the media. And this is exactly that stuff that we're trying to avoid here. As a globally famous athlete with millions of followers, you have the responsibility to act in the right manner, because a lot of people look up to you. It's not an excuse that you're young and you can just do whatever you want, even if it's stupid or dangerous. There were a lot of top young players in the NBA that didn't get into trouble throughout their careers. Look at Zion Williamson, D. Rose, and LeBron. These guys carried themselves in the right way and kept themselves out of trouble despite the fame and attention that they've gotten. I mean, all I'm trying to say is that Ja should learn from these guys, but as of the moment, I think the NBA has to bring down the hammer and really punish Ja for his recent behavior. Cause if not, who knows, he might do it again after a couple weeks or months.